So, a little bit about Maraya. Maraya is a Yale-educated nurse practitioner and certified nurse midwife, and she's been doing stuff with birth for like 17 years. She has attended births in West Africa, in Haiti, in Central America, and she is phenomenal. And then she's taken a little, well, she still attends births, but she's not doing it as actively because she has recently had 3 little kids, like bam, bam, bam. So,
Probably
so
what my
that
husband
is
would say too. Bam, bam, bam.
bam, bam, bam. So I just want to start off. I'm going to just start off with a question for her, and she can jump into answering it. So I think, Maraya, like, what is, if you had to summarize like one thing that women could do to improve their health, both before, during, and after pregnancy, what like one key thing could they do?
Oh gosh, that's hard because
I
there's
know
so
that is
many
hard.
things. I mean, obviously drinking water and getting good sleep and trying to keep our thoughts in a positive, forward-thinking place. But I think the the more I understand how the liver helps process and get rid of toxins in our body, and the more I understand the role of plants, I think my number one would be get as many fruits and vegetables in your body every day, and ideally every color every day. Food coloring doesn't count, so make sure every day you're getting your red, your orange, your yellow, your green, your blue, your purple. Um, and ideally at least 13 servings.
13 servings.
13 servings. Yep,
That's a lot.
it's a lot. A serving is about the size of a handful.
Uh-huh.
It's hard. It's really hard.
Yeah, I mean,
I can't. I can't say
I think
I'm
I
able to.
eat pretty healthy, and I think I was pretty healthy through pregnancy, but I did not get 13 servings or anywhere close to that.
It's really hard to pull off. And even the fruits and vegetables that most of us eat, are they locally grown? Are they vine ripened? Are they organic? It's we're in a bit of a conundrum. But if you just at
Hmm.
least set the goal of trying to get every color in every day and get a lot of plants.
Hmm.
Mm.
Okay, so it sounds like whole food, like food. Food is the most important thing.
Absolutely. Hippocrates had it right a long time ago. Let thy food be thy medicine, let thy medicine be thy food.
Right, right. And
Yeah.
so what do you tell women then when they come to you and they say, my doctor told me to take these vitamins. What vitamins should I take when I'm pregnant? Should I take vitamins when I'm pregnant?
Right.
What are your
Yeah.
thoughts on that?
Yeah, good question. So I do not believe that we have a vitamin deficiency as a culture. I think that we have a whole food deficiency.
Hmm.
And because a lot of the food that we're eating, I mean, it just doesn't taste the same as I'm sure it used to. I
Right.
bring something to my grandma and she's like, this is not a cucumber. She won't even eat cucumbers unless they're from her own garden because she knows what real produce used to taste like.
Hmm.
And so because of that, we're having to fortify to try to get the bridge the gap between what we do eat and what we know we should be eating. And so many people think, oh, we're going to take pharmaceuticals or we're going to eat vitamins. And I don't believe that vitamins are the answer because they're just high doses of isolated, fragmented vitamins. So you rather than
Hmm.
eating the apple, you're saying I'm just going to take the vitamin C. Rather than eating a carrot, you're going to say, oh, I'm going to take the vitamin A out of the carrot. But we forget there's so many phytonutrients and antioxidants that are naturally occurring in these plants.
And that they work together, right? So,
They work in synergy, absolutely.
okay.
And so, in our training, most, ACOG and tells all the OBGYNs and the certifying body for midwives says, oh, we're supposed to suggest prenatal vitamins for all of our pregnant women. And I'm not convinced that that's the right answer.
Hmm.
Oprah paid her staff to do an analysis of a bunch of supplements, looking at do they have in them what they say they have in them, and do they have what they don't say that they have in them. Like, for
Mm-hmm.
instance, toxic levels of vitamin A, which can be teratogenic, meaning really bad for the baby. And it blew my mind looking at the study. The majority of them, like almost all of the ones that they looked at, did not have in them what they said,
Wow.
actually did have toxic levels in prenatal vitamins.
Oh, that's
And
scary.
yeah. So for me, I did not take prenatal vitamins.
You
I've
didn't.
got a 5-year-old, a 3-year-old, and a 4-month-old, and I've never taken a prenatal.
So what did you do? I mean, how did you get So how do you get,
Yeah.
did you get those 13 servings a day? Like, how did
Probably
you do
not.
that?
I mean, I try to
Okay.
eat as much produce as possible. And we lived in Hawaii for 8 years and grew a lot of our food year round, but still trying to get quality produce in every day and that many servings is hard. Um, so I fortified with food-based supplementation. Um, and
And what is,
that was my,
so that's different than a vitamin though. It's not like,
right.
okay.
Yeah. So finding a
And
supplement that's not just an isolated fragmented vitamin, it's actual food
okay.
that has been put into a supplement form. The one that I use is they take 30 different fruits, vegetables, and berries. They're vine ripened, pulverized, and dehydrated at a low heat, so that it's still considered raw. So it still has the enzymes just like the plants would have. And then it's encapsulated, so it's easy to take.
And so these are
And
the ones that I've just discovered as well. And I didn't have them during pregnancy, which I'm so bummed out about
mhm,
because I feel like, man, that just would have been an answer to so many things that, like I got sick. I couldn't take the prenatal vitamins often because they made me sick to my stomach. And
right.
it just, I feel like it would have been awesome to be able to just get food, extra produce and food.
Absolutely. Right. And I think a lot of the time vitamins are just expensive urine. I mean, that's kind of
That's
crass, but it's true.
so true.
We're buying them and we're peeing them right out because we don't
Yeah.
we don't actually, is there any research behind them? So I say, okay, we need to get food-based nutrition
Hmm.
and even supplemental food. And is there any research behind it? Do we know that it's what's called bioavailable, meaning it actually gets into the bloodstream when you take it? You don't just take it and it goes right into yellow urine,
Right.
but it's actually bioavailable. And is there any research behind the supplements that you're taking that actually shows these supplements, not a company saying, oh, these other companies have studied XYZ, so we're going to utilize that research from over there and say ours must be the same. No.
Hmm.
Is there research with these actual supplements saying they do things in the body to change markers of physiology?
Mm. And what you are saying, what you're taking does
Yeah, for 10 years.
is
There's actually,
bioavailable.
so I've been taking this particular supplement for 10 years.
Hmm.
And yes, there's a great deal of research. So as a healthcare provider, I think that's valuable to know that there's research behind it. I think at
Hmm.
this point there have been 38 published studies.
Cool.
I will say that so I didn't take prenatal vitamins in any of them.
Hmm.
I did really make sure that I was supplementing with a plant-based supplement, and vitamin D, as in dog, is actually
Hmm.
not a vitamin, it's a hormone. And we don't get very much vitamin D through plants, maybe
Right.
mushrooms, but you have to eat a
Yeah,
ton, a ton, a ton of them.
and you
So
have to put them in the sun. I learned this. You can put them in the sun, and they'll soak up some vitamin D, and then you can Mhm.
interesting.
before you
Yeah,
cook
so I
with
did
them.
take a supplemental vitamin D. And then the
Yeah,
other thing is your
I
B
do too.
vitamins.
Right, because
Bees also don't.
B vitamins are primarily through meat sources, aren't they?
Right.
So if you're vegetarian or vegan, you're not
Right.
getting that. Right. Okay.
Right. Or
And then what
even if
about?
you're eating,
Go ahead.
go ahead.
I
Even if
was
you're
going to say,
eating, your turn.
what about fats?
Yeah. So fats are really important for the brain development of the baby,
Mhm.
for our skin. And it's not just from a vanity standpoint. Sure, we want healthy skin so we don't have wrinkles and blah, blah, blah. But skin in pregnancy is about trying to prevent stretch marks. And it's
Yeah,
also
tired.
about the integrity of the perineum. As a
Hmm.
midwife, man, this is probably TMI, but when a woman is pushing and I'm watching her perineum, I can tell if she's had a healthy diet.
Really?
If she's eaten a good amount of fats, um, the good quality fats in her pregnancy, the skin is just more supple. It's more pliable, and and that doesn't mean that you know everyone's not going to tear.
Right.
But I can tell you that if in a pregnancy a woman has had quality fats, and in my world, once again, plant-based fats in an ideal
Mhm.
world, their perennial integrity is going to be much
So what
stronger.
does that look like? What do quality fats look like? Like what?
Yeah. So then once again, eating your avocados and your nuts and
Mhm.
and good quality salmon, that kind of thing. And then there's lots of different supplemental omega sources, and you'll hear DHA, because it's really great for the brain development of the baby. And for my first 2 pregnancies, I took a fish-based omega supplement. But to be honest, I took it because I knew I needed the good fats, but I worried a little bit. I worried about the mercury levels that can build up in fish, especially when, we all worry about mercury. I imagine most of us worry about mercury levels when we're eating a lot of fish, but particularly when we're pregnant. And the more fish we eat, and especially the bigger the fish, the more other fish that fish has eaten. And so, we worry about the mercury levels. So then this last pregnancy, I was able to find a completely vegan, completely plant-based omega supplement. So then I didn't have to worry about the mercury levels. And at age 40, giving birth again, I mean, this is TMI once again, but no tears at all, no stretch marks. I mean, really, I think it had to do with the quality of the omega supplements and, doing my ground flax and avocados and nuts and all of that.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely feel like for me, I've hesitated to take fish oil because of the mercury, and not just the mercury, but the radiation and like just the crap in the water, radiation, mercury. There's so many factors that are affecting the seafood these days that I've been really nervous to take fish oil. And so I'm so excited to have this totally vegan omega. It's like an answer.
Right. And it's an answer if you're thinking about getting pregnant, if you are pregnant, if you're breastfeeding, all of that. The good fats are going to help to lubricate the joints if we're having any aches and pains. They're going to help in our brain development because we get that brain fog and in the brain development of the baby, plus the healthy skin. I mean, any anxiety out there for women postpartum, if there's any of the kind of depressive feelings or feelings of anxiety, getting those good quality fats are really important.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's interesting. Good info. Okay, so I want to switch. Not switch, but I'm going to kind of switch topics a little bit. So there's so much floating around on the internet. You hear all these giant words lately relating to pregnancy, and so 2 of them are microbiome. I don't know if anybody out there has heard the term microbiome. If you have, push a little heart so we can see if you've heard these terms. Microbiome or epigenetics. If you've heard of either of those, thumbs up us or heart us, because she's going to talk. I'm curious how many other people have heard these terms floating around, because I feel like I'm hearing a lot about those 2 words right now.
Yeah, they're so important. I see hearts going across the screen.
People are hearing those words.
Yeah. So I finished my CNM training in 2007, and I don't remember being taught about either of these things at that point. But over the last 10 years, it's become a big deal. So the human microbiome, we have to remember that we are more bacteria than we are human cells. I mean, it makes up the majority of what composes us. And the more we understand the human microbiome, it has to do with gut health. And we're now learning that the gut is really as important as the brain. I mean, it is the hub. It's the hub of our immune system. It's the hub of how we function in the world. And so, the big things with human microbiome, especially if you are going to conceive and have a baby, and just if you're going to live a healthy life, you want to eat lots of probiotics. So your cultured foods, hopefully like a non-dairy yogurt or kefir, your sauerkrauts, that kind of thing. Many can find probiotic supplements over the counter. I would say at least 8 billion strains or more. And so that's probiotics. It's about introducing good bacteria into the gut lining. And I mean, there's so much research out there now. It's pretty amazing. And then there's prebiotics, which come from plants, something called oligosaccharides. And the prebiotics actually bypass the gut. And then what they do is they feed the good bacteria. So the good bacteria that we already have in our bodies, the more plants that we eat and the more oligosaccharides or prebiotics we can get, they enhance and boost those good bacteria to do what they're supposed to be doing, to keep our guts healthy, to keep our immune system strong, to keep our bodies able to function in the world. And so a couple plugs there would be let your kids play in the dirt. Don't overuse antibacterial, whatever it is. Anytime you're taking an antibiotic, you have to think for the next 6 months, you are making a concerted effort to recover your gut flora. And
Okay.
as much as possible, please, 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 ladies out there, believe in your ability to have a vaginal birth. Vaginal births are what help to inoculate the baby from the get-go with good, healthy bacteria that help them survive in the world. Breastfeeding, skin to skin, all the touch, letting them be in their environment, all of that is actually inoculating their body with the good bacterias to live a healthy life.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's interesting because it's like the things that come really instinctually to us as moms, bringing your baby close to you right after it's been
Right.
born is
Yeah.
actually physically beneficial, not just emotionally beneficial.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
fascinating.
And then you asked about epigenetics.
Yeah.
Ugh, that's a really exciting one. So if you imagine, so we all know that a caterpillar and a butterfly have the same DNA, right?
Right.
Same DNA. It's just a different expression of the DNA. That's called the human genome. It's genes that are turned on and turned off. So a caterpillar becomes a butterfly. So for us, we have a very specific DNA, but all the time, genes are being turned on and turned off. And that is in large part due to our lifestyle, our choices. What food do we eat? How much water are we drinking? What's our stress level? How much sleep are we getting? And so when a woman is pregnant, she is not only affecting her own epigenetics, but her babies and her baby's babies. So literally 3 generations deep,
Wow.
a woman can impact the trajectory of whether her grandchildren have a higher likelihood of developing diabetes or hypertension or depression. So in
Crazy.
pregnancy, gosh, as though we already don't have enough pressure on our shoulders, even
Right.
more so.
Now you're going to affect your grandchildren.
Right. So go back to eat as many fruits and vegetables as you can. Get your quality fats. Try to drink your water. Get a good amount of sleep. Watch your thought pattern and how you're managing stress. All of that. Because it affects your well-being in your pregnancy and it affects the trajectory of your grandchildren.
That's so crazy. It's so cool, though. It's so
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
So for you personally, then, I know some people, if you're watching me and you follow me at all, you've heard me talk about the Shred 10 program or shredding, or I'm shredding or whatever. So I was in Mexico for almost 3 weeks and then in Florida and was away from my home and the foods that I love. And oh my gosh, do I ever feel it. And we start Shred on Monday and I'm so excited because I just feel so toxic. Ugh. So did you do that while you were pregnant? Did you shred while you were pregnant?
Yeah, absolutely. So what
What
that
is the
is
shred? Yeah.
right. It's a program of detoxification and rejuvenation. And yes, our entire family has done it every month for the last 16 months.
And it's
So
pretty simple. I mean, it's
it's
a really
very
simple.
simple. It's become a lifestyle. So for 10
Yeah.
days every month, we are really focusing on eliminating all of the super pro-inflammatory things in our diet, such as alcohol and caffeine, sugar, gluten, dairy, that kind of thing. And then we are super loading our bodies with as many plants as possible, focusing on water and good sleep and all of that.
So
And
that's
so,
totally safe to do while you're pregnant because it's not like you're taking weird detox herbs or anything like that.
no,
It's
no.
just
And
fruits and veggies.
right. It's not a diet. It's a
Right.
gentle, it's not a caloric restriction thing. We're supposed to be eating every 2 hours. It's about training us on the right things to put in our body every day
Right.
and throughout the day and keeping our glycemic, our insulin levels and our glycemic load in our body steady throughout the day. So that way we're not having these spikes and down and up and down. And I think it's actually really valuable in getting ready to get pregnant and being pregnant and also breastfeeding. I've started my functional medicine certification through the Institute of Functional Medicine, and I love it. But I just did their detox module. And there was one thing that struck me, and it's still, I think about it and I get chills. So there's something about the total toxic burden in a human body, based on the water we drink, the air we breathe. We just, it's inevitable. We have more toxins in our body as we live. And our body does a really good job at trapping those toxins. And it enrobes the toxins in fat cells. so that our organs can function at their maximal capacity. And so when we're doing a program of detoxification and rejuvenation, it's not just taking out. It's taking out the bad and flooding the body with the good. Then it helps our liver to convert those toxins into what's called water soluble, so that we can pee them out. They can get out in our stool, or we can sweat them out. And here's the kicker, the big quote that I heard. And it was that when a woman is breastfeeding, she unloads 20% of her toxic load from her body through her breast milk.
So the baby is getting, if you're toxic, and like if you have a really high toxin level in your body, and then you're unloading all that into the baby while you're breastfeeding.
So we all have a high toxic load. I'm going to walk because I see my phone is saying it might die. I'm going to go grab it, the charger. So we all have toxins in our body. It's not if, it's we all have a toxic load. And so I remember in CNM school learning that, now I'm in the bathroom, grab the charger. I remember learning that if a woman breastfeeds, she significantly decreases the chance of developing breast cancer. And I always thought that was because of the decrease in unopposed estrogen, which kind of makes sense to me. But now this is what really makes sense to me. If a breastfeeding woman is unloading a huge percentage of the toxic load in her body, that's why women who breastfeed have a decreased chance of developing breast cancer. Is because they're unloading those toxins. It's awesome for the
So ideally, though, I mean, ideally you would want to like detox prior to or get your body as healthy as it is, lessen that toxic load prior to conceiving, if possible, or during pregnancy, right?
Right. Because so that's awesome that we're going to unload 20% of the toxic load
but
while
it's
we're
going into the breast milk.
But it's going to the baby.
Okay.
And it's going to the baby through fat soluble breast milk. And these little tiny bodies being bombarded with the toxins is not what we want. So yes, if you are thinking about getting pregnant, absolutely load your body with plants. Find a quality plant-based supplement. For me, I have no doubt what that is for my own body. And consider finding a quality form of detoxification and rejuvenation that you can do every month. That does not, it should not make your gut feel horrible. You shouldn't feel crazy and hungry. It should be gentle and doable and sustainable.
Right, and sustainable. And that's what I found with doing this detox, is that it's like you said, it's my lifestyle now. It's just what we do, and the whole family does it. And so it's really cool. So I'm going to run what that looks like is, like she said, you eliminate gluten, dairy, processed foods, you eliminate sugars, and I think that's it for eliminations, right? Isn't that all? And then you're adding in no sugar.
And it's 6 p.m. So if you're not
breastfeeding or pregnant.
Right. So if you're not pregnant or breastfeeding or a high endurance athlete or a child, then you're going to finish your last meal at 6 p.m. But if you are pregnant or breastfeeding, then we don't have that. As you want. Right, exactly.
And then you're adding in, like you said, all the fruits and veggies that you can, all the water that you can, and you're adding in this incredible food supplement. But it is not a supplement, it's food in a capsule form. So it's food that's non-GMO, that it has been pulverized, dehydrated, put into a capsule. It's better than organic because it's been tested multiple times to be free of all pesticides, herbicides, and any toxin known to man. Can't say that about your organic produce. And then you're ingesting it, you're taking water, and you're rehydrating it, basically. And so this is what we're talking about when we're talking about whole food nutrition for preconception, pregnant women, nursing women, for everybody, really.
Absolutely.
We're talking about a supplement. I don't even like calling it a supplement because it's a food, but this is something that Maraya and I we feel we're so passionate about it. We feel like it's a huge gift to the world that we can give them to be able to offer Juice Plus to people, because it really changes it just really changes your body. And I think the reason that it does is because, like you said, you're flooding your body with all of this high quality produce, and it's able to detox and rejuvenate on such a deep level. So
and you go back to the beginning, it's not about flooding the body with vitamins.
Right.
It's about
Right.
flooding the body with quality food.
Quality
And
food.
especially in pregnancy, my goodness, don't just go out and grab any prenatal. For me, like I said, I did not take prenatal vitamins.
Right.
I took Juice Plus and I doubled the dose.
Mm-hmm.
So that way I knew I was getting 30 different plants, every color, every day.
Twice a
And
day.
then plus twice a day, and then the plant-based protein powder, a plant-based omega. And then I added a vitamin D as in dog,
Yep.
a B complex if I, at least first trimester, the methylfolate,
Mm-hmm.
and then the probiotic. And then remember, when you're with all the plants, you're getting all the prebiotics.
Right.
Hmm.
Right. And here's what I've noticed just personally on a personal level. So I didn't have, I didn't know about Juice Plus when I was pregnant, even with Kieran, with my last baby. I didn't know. I started taking it while I was breastfeeding, and I'm still breastfeeding. But what I did notice this time around, I'm older this time. Like I should have less energy. I should feel not as vibrant, I would say. That was my expectation, is oh, I'm older, this is going to be harder. And he's my most active child. He is a voracious breastfeeder. He nurses all night long. You've seen him. He wants to nurse a lot. And so like you, I double my dose of Juice Plus, but I feel great. I have energy. I feel good. I wake up in the morning with him and it's not that dreaded, like, oh crap, another day of dragging my feet. I don't use caffeine for energy. Um, I, I don't need to. I don't need to. And so
Yeah.
for me, that's the only comparison I have is breastfeeding my other kids and how I felt at this point. Once you've breastfed for a while and you get to that like almost 2 year mark, it takes a toll. It really takes a
Oh,
toll on your
God.
body. And I don't feel that this time. I don't feel like the life has been sucked out of me, which
I
which
can
is
totally rate. Even
yeah.
last night, I was talking with another mommy friend of mine, and she says, "Oh, aren't you exhausted?" And I thought, you know what?
No,
No, I'm
I know.
not.
And I almost
I
feel
just
guilty
gave
saying
birth.
it. I'm like, no, I don't.
I gave birth at 40 for my third, so I've got a 5-year-old, a 3-year-old, and a
Yeah.
4-month-old, and I feel vibrant and great.
Yeah.
And my kids are great, and I
And
don't have my.
I really attribute that. I think that this shred program and what we have in
Mhm.
the quality produce of Juice Plus it really is what I call my nutritional foundation. And I took it with me traveling. I did not leave home without any of it. But what I really missed was I was at all these places and they had terrible blenders, and I couldn't get I couldn't get a produce filled smoothie with my powder blended right. I was so happy to be home to my
Right,
blender so
right.
I could have my shred smoothies. Um,
Mhm.
and so I think now, I don't, if anybody has any questions, please pop those up. We are opening it up for a couple minutes here to answer your questions about anything really, but if it's specifically related to conception, pregnancy, or breastfeeding,
Right.
pop those up here now, and we'll get to those here in a second. Um,
Can I just put one more plug in for those that aren't
yes.
pregnant yet and you're thinking about getting pregnant? I think the I'll say I think the shred program is what helped me get pregnant.
Okay.
I we already had a really healthy diet and healthy lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Juice Plus and the protein powder was already part of our family's daily routine for 8 years.
Right.
And then getting pregnant with my third, it took a lot longer than I anticipated. I
Mm.
mean, the other two was first try were pregnant.
Right.
And this one, it was 9 months in, and still, like, what is going on? And I didn't think that I had any underlying autoimmune anything.
Mm-hmm.
And I had also come to accept that chronic neck pain was just part of my reality. I had an orthopedic surgeon tell me that, at some point he would do complete reconstructive surgery on my cervical spine.
Oh, wow.
And then my husband convinced me to shred. I went in kicking and screaming, to be honest with you. I did not want to let go of my caffeine, even if it was just for 10 days. And the whole 6 p.m. thing at that point, I was like, yeah, no. I
Mm-hmm.
could not believe the transformation that happened in my constitution shredding. And then 4 months in, on our fourth shred, poof, I was pregnant. And so for me, it was like, wait a minute, I need to go back and look at the science behind this. What does this mean?
Right.
And what I then understood was our organs are going to do their best at functioning at their maximal capacity. You help them get rid of the toxins. So free the toxins up and then get them out of the body. And the organs can function at their maximal capacity. And so for me, it was, right, infertility is even, it's autoimmune in my world.
Right.
And so start shredding now.
Start before you, ideally start before you're pregnant, but it's never too late. So
Right.
we have a couple questions. Let's answer this one super quickly. How do you answer moms who are on a tight budget?
Yeah. Well, so number one is, I think that we need to shift the way that we approach prevention. So, it's paying now so that we don't pay a lot down the road, number one, and what can be shifted around in regard to how we spend our money. And that's kind of a harsh answer, but I think that's part of it.
I mean, if it's a priority, right, like you'll go drop $5 on a coffee at a fancy coffee shop, no problem.
Right.
And you can shred for, what is it, $6 a day, roughly.
And that's 2 meals.
That's with 2 meals, right? And so you're to me, it's a no-brainer. Like I would rather spend that money on something that's really helping me be a vibrant, healthy, human than something that's a detriment to my body. Because I am an older mom and I want to be around, and I don't want to just be around, but I want to be healthy and involved and be able to run after my kids and do all the things that I want to do.
Right. And it's part of our budget, and kids get it for free. And I mean, there's lots of ways to be creative.
So if you're on a tight budget and you think, oh, I talk to whoever invited you to this video, because there is always a way. And Michaela has a question. Shredding while breastfeeding, is there any concern for more toxins going to the baby? She's been on Juice Plus for 13 years, still on double dose omegas and the complete.
Great. It's a good question. So I think there are all different detoxification programs out there, and I think we have to be careful, especially when we're breastfeeding, because you can theoretically get the toxins released so that the fat cells that are enrobed in kind of keeping those toxins in a safe place, once that's released, they can potentially wreak havoc around the body. So as long as I think the Shred 10 program is a phenomenal program, because you're helping to release the toxins and you're flooding your body. Here's the deal, you guys. You have to remember every color, every day, as much variety of fruits and vegetables as possible. You can't do too much, because it's like a recipe and ingredients. Well, I don't want to spend too much time on that, but if you have that variety of plants, you are equipping your liver with all the right ingredients to do the phase 1 and phase 2 to actually get the toxins out of the body. So as long as you're flooding the body with, in this program, it's 45 different plants that are all non-GMO and toxin-free and vine ripened. So 45 plants to then help the body get rid of the toxins. So that's my answer.
Right. It's like a key and a lock. Like there's certain components of certain fruits and vegetables that literally match and unlock and allow the cells to release the toxins in a way that they wouldn't be able to otherwise. I'm just reading some comments here.
Right. So Nikki said once they're released, right, if the liver's doing a good job at releasing them, exactly. We want to sweat them out. We want them to go out through our urine and our stool. And then that way they're not
right, because if they're water soluble, then they're going out that way and they're not coming through the fat in the breast milk. So wow, that's a big aha for me. I hadn't even thought of that before. So this is actually, it would be vitally important to do a gentle detox program like the Shred 10 program when you're breastfeeding, because then you're able to pee and poop and sweat the toxins out instead of passing them through the fat to the baby.
Right. So ideally before you're pregnant and during while you're pregnant, but if this is the first time you're hearing about it and you're breastfeeding now, absolutely, we've got to find a way to get the toxins out. And keep your plastics out of your kitchen. No plastics, please.
Yeah, no plastics. No. Oh man, no plastics anywhere. Don't store your food in them. Don't heat your food in them. Don't heat your food in plastics, mamas. Please don't heat your food in plastic.
Get those endocrine
okay, so
out of the
Yeah. So I think we've probably been talking way past half an hour. If anyone else has one more question, you can pop it up, but I'm going to kind of close us out here, I think, so that we can all get to our happy Sundays. So, I mean, if you're on this call, or if you're watching this later, um, you kind of have a few options at this point. You can, hopefully you glean some really phenomenal information from this, and you can take that home and use that in your life and say, okay, awesome, I'm going to drink more water. I'm going to try to get close to those 13 servings of fruits and veggies a day. I'm going to work really hard to, eat whole foods so that my body, if you're not pregnant, so that your body is prepared for pregnancy. If you are pregnant, so that your baby is getting what your baby needs through those food sources. And if you're breastfeeding, same thing. When you're breastfeeding, you may as well still be pregnant, because you're nourishing that other human. And so maybe that's your takeaway, is that you're going to just make some changes in your life, and we would be so happy to see that happen for you. This is why we do this, because we really want people to be able to take their health back and to be proactive in their health. So that makes us really happy if that's your takeaway. And, another option is that you've heard us talk a little bit about the Shred program and about Juice Plus. And maybe you go back to the person who invited you to this call. And if nobody invited you, send me a message privately on My Healthy Hive, or comment below or something, and someone will get back to you and answer any questions you have, give you any information you want. We've got incredible research that is just mind-blowing. Like Maraya said, 38 different peer-reviewed studies. And we know that this gets in the bloodstream. We know that it's bioavailable. And that is what we want when we are trying to conceive, when we're pregnant, and when we're breastfeeding. It's huge. And then, maybe you can think of someone who is pregnant or trying to conceive, and you think that this is information that could benefit them. And feel free to share this video. I'm going to post it. I'll have it up, up on my wall, so you can find it there and share with people, so that we can get these mamas feeling good, being healthy, being vibrant, and hopefully, we'll affect those 3 generations down. We can affect our grandchildren in a really positive way, just because of what we were putting in our bodies, which is really exciting. So that's our talk for today. If nobody has any other questions, actually, and if you do have questions and you're watching this back, please ask them in the comments. And Maraya, I'll tag her, or tag, I'll make sure that Maraya answers any questions that you have regarding pregnancy and nutrition, or conception and nutrition, or breastfeeding and nutrition. We are here to help you guys be the best version of yourselves. So thank you for joining us, Maraya. Thank you for taking time out of your Sunday to talk to me.
I just saw a male join on, and I was thinking, right, it's just as important for men. So in the preconception world, men also need to really focus on their nutrition to make sure that their sperm quality is as high as possible too. So this isn't just for women.
Right. And we love our husbands too, so we want to include them in what we're doing. All right. Well, thank you everyone for joining us. Sorry about the technical difficulties in the beginning, but we got here and we did it.
We got it.
So.
First trip.
All
right. Thank you.
All right. Bye.